Thank you very much. I want to advise those of us in the research community, especially with air quality. The 2021 WHO guidelines, they are interim guidelines, which they are about 4. So please, if you do any work and you meet one of them, don't go to the extreme. If you have met the 4th target, it's an improvement. If you meet the 3rd target, it's an improvement. But if you make a presentation and we say that we couldn't meet the extreme one, then it's not going to help us. So please, let us always not put too much fear within the community by saying that we couldn't meet it. The one we met, let's talk about it, because it's very hard for even the well-developed countries to meet the extreme one. Thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing up this. These issues came up when we were developing the guidelines. I was fortunate to be African representative on that committee for developing the air quality guidelines, the current one. This issue came during one of our discussions. WHO guideline is a guideline. It's to guide countries to develop their own standards. We have to be very clear about this. It is not, any guideline is not too much enforceable. It's not enforceable. But it's to guide countries, and where countries don't have standards, they can adopt. So that is the main reason about it. So countries are encouraged to develop their standards, collect the relevant data in your country, and then develop your own standard. Ghana, we have standards. And we are interim target 3 better. Ours is better than interim target 3, and we're striving to move on and come improve upon that. So you can adopt, and then try to put on policies and other strategies to improve upon that. The reason being that also came up again was that there are countries that are situated on deserts. So how do you say they should go and then use WHO guidelines when in fact the situation there is already worse? You get it? So in the guidelines, we put something there for protection of human health in terms of how countries should put strategies in place to be able to protect their health in terms of dust storms and all those things. So guidelines are not enforceable. Those that are enforceable are standards. So countries should make sure that they have standards. And because of that, when you come to ECOWAS, here, we'll be able to work on it. We know from vehicle aspect, there are a lot of problems from vehicle emissions. So currently, there is a standard that has been developed. There is a standard that has been developed for fuel that ECOWAS should follow. This all bringing together is supposed to be able to improve the quality of the air. Ghana's standard that they use, or motor vehicle standard, was also used to develop what we call harmonized standard for ECOWAS on motor vehicle. So countries should come out. It's the strategy that is most important. You need to have proper strategies to be able to reduce emissions, but start from somewhere. Even in US, the US people would say every state has its own standard. They are not using WHO. You get the states are, per the law, they are supposed to develop their own standards. You cannot tell me that California standard should be the same as Washington. Where California is situated on desert. you get what I'm saying. So we should stop avoiding emphasizing too much that we are not met as per WHO standard. Even in Europe, the 5, when we're discussing the annual, they said, how do we even achieve it? So they put it there. They put it there that they should strive to be able to meet it. Not everywhere in Europe can they meet this annual value of 5. Where in natural settings, you can even go beyond that. So please, let's try. Countries here should try to develop their standards. If you don't have the data, you adopt any of the entry targets and then begin to work and improve upon that. Thank you very much.
I think that the presenter was being pessimistic because he has seen all these challenges we have raised, that using these various methods will not meet up the perceived standards. And what the WHO has put forth is in terms of how much air pollution affects humans. Irrespective of whether you can meet that standard or not, you should know that these are the implications. And what he advocated, if I listen to him very well, is that researchers should look inwards and find a better way to develop technology that will save us from air pollution issues. And I think that if we take that advice, we should go home, those of us who are on the energy side, and begin to think of the resources around us. How much can we use that to achieve our energy needs? Solar energy, for instance, is not being harnessed sufficiently. We have about 1,300 watts per meter cube. So much energy there. The solar panels, as of today, have been able to convert only about 20-something%. So the issue there had been that of the transducers, our ability to transform the solar energy into useful energy. And that's what we should be looking at. We have it in abundance. It's there already. And part of the cost of solar energy is on the storage, the battery, not even in the panel. You can find panels of about 80,000, 100,000. But when you talk about the battery, you're going to about 200 and 300,000 for only one set. And that is not enough to supply or store enough energy for household use. I think that is where we should be looking at. How can we transform the vast amount of solar energy we have? It's wasting all over the place, wasting. Every day is coming. If we are able to do what Madam said, develop a technology that will be cheaper, affordable, people will abandon the rest. Naturally. It's cheaper. Why would I go for something more expensive? So I think my advice will be, in line with his, let researchers look at better ways to harness available resources to generate energy, and that will solve the pollution problem.
Yeah, thank you so much for a really interesting presentation that showed some of the complexities around this. I was curious, though, that, Ghana is an increasingly urban country, and we're here in Accra, which is a very big and beautiful city, and yet it seems like a lot of people are still, they're not having access to electricity, so they're still doing some of these other methods for their cooking. And I was curious whether it's important to distinguish between potential urban solutions versus rural solutions. And obviously electricity should be one, if we want to reduce exposure. And I know there's a lot of politics around your energy contracts and electricity, but listen, that has to be looked at. So I am curious about why you didn't even have electricity in the mix. And when you're doing these calculations, maybe you gave up on that. Maybe that was your pessimism too. But so the question about urban, rural, and then I'm wondering if people have done the cost-benefit analysis to look at all the harms from this kind of pollution and how much you could save up front by investing in some of these better technologies. Obviously with accountability, because accountability is a big issue in the energy sector. For sure, right? So that's part of the problem. We can't ignore that politics, unfortunately. But anyway, I would like to see your ideas about urban, rural, and distinguishing that and the cost-benefit analysis, if that's a good idea to move forward.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I said it during my presentation that it's important to distinguish between the product energy sources for the urban, and even within the urban setting, we have the slum communities within the urban setting, and we have different grades within the urban setting. So I think we should have a policy that is very targeted, where we have energy sources. Of course, the government is championing the use of clean fuel, but it should be more targeted, because we can't have one solution for everybody. So I think we should have a targeted solutions where there's a particular fuel that is championed among low-income households, like the slum communities, and other energy source championed among those in the high-income bracket. I think that, in a way, will make sense to me, right? That, in a way, will make sense to me. Yeah, I think it's the issue of one solution fits all. I think it's quite outmoded. Yes.
It's even a lot better than Nigeria or what have you. A lot of homes in Nigeria, for weeks, they will not have government supplied electricity. So just don't even go near it. People use a generator, diesel power generator, petrol power generator, to even have light. So electricity is not even, we don't even have electricity for lighting homes and what have you. That is why I was talking about all those rechargeable, we call it rechargeable lamp, small solar lamp that people use. Ghana is even a lot better in terms of islands. They have electricity most times and water most times. But in Nigeria, I don't know, other people can, that is, I can say that if a lot of people, I think we have one of the poorest electricity coverage in Africa, but then our population, over 200 million people. And how are you going to solve that and other issues? So that is why electricity doesn't come, when we are doing some of this study, it doesn't come for us in Nigeria that you can cook with electricity. It doesn't really. Then the stoves are not readily available. Then the grid. So the way if you are going to use electricity in homes, it has to be the wiring, the building has to have been there. So you can't just bring in there. Some people use some off-the-shelf electricity. Once you plug into this, it switches off all the things or burn the wire or what have you, because the houses were not built to provide for that already. So it's a little complex for us.
Can I still say something? Okay. I want to say that the real solution is electricity. I was just about talking about that. We're sourcing for solution. We're looking at what to put in place to solve this. If we have a complete regular supply of electricity, I think if we look towards that, work towards that in our countries, that will give us a good solution, both in the generator, the fuel, generator emissions that leads to indoor air pollution and so on, and in every aspect in industries and so on. I think the best solution, what we should aim at in the future, is to have steady power supply. That will solve all the problems. If we have steady power supply, emissions from generator, in short, I am very sure that air pollution, like in Nigeria, will be cut into 50% because of generators. And also for the cooking, for the fish drying and so on, we have steady power supply. All that problems will be solved. So if we work towards that, that is the key solution. Thank you.